That's the tragedy of it. And I know how much of resources the government, of the social welfare departments are allocated. But when it comes to disbursement, they're so slow. So this is how the drug abuse treatment went on. So from police stations, we came into our own building. Japanese embassy helped us build it. And a donor, an NRI donor from America, helped me buy the land. So we bought the land by his money and we built it by Japanese embassy. And that's how we built a hospital in northwest of Delhi.
So actually this must be a very unique example of police station becoming a therapeutic center.
Yes.
In fact, normally people shy away from police station, but here you are bringing somebody in
Yes.
and sending him out as a much different type of person, reformed person.
Absolutely.
So this must be the unique of its kind in the world.
It was very unique initiative. We did not know, but we did it as a crime prevention measure. But from there, from the drug abuse treatment program, my PhD came.
Was it part of your training as a police officer that you should try to take such preventive steps to actually arrest possible crime at a future date?
Well, crime prevention was my priority goal always as a police officer. That's why it led to prison reforms as prevention. I was basically a believer in prevention, more than detection. Detection must happen if prevention fails. But I was believing in prevention, and I believe in prevention first. So this came out of my prevention belief. All my further policing also came out of my belief in prevention. We must prevent, we must cure, we must treat before the issue becomes big.
Is it something because of your philosophical bent of mind that you actually were looking at some sort of advice from someone like Gandhiji or somebody that you actually believed that prevention is better than cure?
I guess it's been an upbringing, my student life, the way I was brought up by my parents. It was always preparation. And when you prepare for the right things, you prevent problems. So it was always in preparation in the right way, which led to prevention, be it at work or be it personally.
Tell me, is this knowledge that you're talking about now, don't you think it's necessary to institutionalize it and actually bring about a complete change in mindset of the entire police enforcement in the country to bring in prevention as one of the major issue? Do you think something needs to be done on that count?
It would have happened if we had done it in Delhi. Delhi police would have become a model of cosmopolitan policing, and that would have led to replication of a model. It would have happened. And I can tell you this was anticipated, that Delhi, if she goes, Delhi would become a model of policing, and then it will need to be replicated and questions would be asked, why wasn't it there earlier? So why not kill this initiative right now so that you don't have a comparison available. That's the tragedy of our small thinking. We would have created, just as we created prison reforms, Tihar as a model, today it's a model. It's a 3C model called collective, corrective, community-based approach. It's a 3C model. Tihar reforms, prison reforms is today worldwide known as a 3C formula of the New Delhi model. It's gone down in history and academics as a New Delhi 3C model. We would have created the same kind of participative, corrective, preventive policing model. But that's what we've deprived ourselves. You see, my life goes on. But this is something my life would have offered as a institutionalized model of policing, which we've deprived our own selves of it. But unless you do it, how can you offer it? Theoretically, there are many models. But you have to practice it and prove it that it's
show
possible.
it on the ground somewhere.
It's
so that's what unfortunately we missed an opportunity. And I think that seems to be because, as you were saying earlier, that prevention is better than cure, also because if you arrest a wrong person, you are creating an innocent person into a criminal.
Absolutely.
And therefore actually then, rather than solving a crime, you are actually fostering a crime and a criminal who will actually do that. So I think that's the best way, and I think unfortunately Delhi...
First prevent a wrong arrest. Secondly, after an arrest, work on him so that he doesn't go for a re-arrest. So work before and work after.
But that's what you started doing in Tihar jail, right?
Yes.
Well, how that actually? But tell me something before I would like to ask about that. Was it a genuinely designed way of putting you into places where you'll be away from people because you are posted to Tihar jail again as someone who will not have to then deal with the people too much? And it's like a side posting, as you call it in policing. Is it something?
See, I was never politically connected. I never knocked at the doors of politicians to give me any assignment. So I always got what was left over. So all these were left over. These are very important assignments. They were all left over. Because anybody who could pull strings went somewhere else. I never went to pull strings because that's why till the last I never did it. If I were pulling strings along the ladder, I would have done it at the last and I would have been somewhere else. But since I didn't believe it from day one, I only got the leftovers. But I made the best of the leftovers. I got the best. Prison was a totally leftover assignment. Police training was a leftover assignment. I got the leftovers. But I did the best of the leftovers because for me they were not leftovers. They were really human institutions to be worked on.
No, we'll talk about these leftover in the remaining time, whatever is left over for us, but we'll just continue talking to you. Don't go away. We are talking to Kiran Bedi about the issues related to policing, and she's going to tell us about her experience in Tihar jail, which now is acclaimed world over. So don't go away. We are waiting for you to come back. Welcome back. We are talking to Kiran Bedi in Top Shot. Kiranji, you are saying about your assignment at the Tihar jail. Normally, when you go to a jail, you find inmates locked in. And normally a police officer also gets locked in into the stereotypes of the police manual and what he needs to do, and he or he spends time to follow instructions coming from the top and keeping him busy and happy. But you suddenly went there and you again unlocked the whole thing. How did this happen? How you again acquired freedom in the jail?
I believe in unlocking.
But how did you acquire freedom in jail?
Absolutely believe in unlocking. I believe in freedom, as I told you. Believe in sense of freedom, not only for myself, but the people I work with.
So how did it start?
Now, people I worked with were prisoners. Because I believed that they all needed a new way of living, a new mindset. They're only a product with a negative mind. Why can't I create an environment which they get positive mind and they walk out of the prison not to come back? So what gives you a positive mind? Is reading, is environment, is books, it's spirituality, it's a cleaner environment, it's communication. I gave them all that. So spirituality came in, education came in, and no budgets. There was no budget to reform programs in the prison. Not a penny in the education head. Education was not it was only atta, dal, roti, chini, patti, milk, bread. That's it.
Size of bread and size of
everything. Not a penny in the budget for any reform. I brought in all the NGOs. That's where I unlocked it. Because I was an NGO myself, I knew the strength of an NGO. Brought schools, brought copybooks, bought donated books, used school books. All 10,000 prisoners were in like a school in the morning.
10,000 prisoners?
10,000 prisoners all studied for 2 hours daily. 9 to 11 is like a school bell. 9,000 and 10,000 prisoners like a school bell. And I used to walk the prison every day at 9 to 11 looking at their education program. They were all in classrooms. Teachers were prisoners.
Oh.
We had graduate prisoners.
The students and the teachers both were prisoners.
Because where do I pay? I didn't have teachers. But volunteer teachers came in from outside. Somebody to teach English and somebody to teach mathematics. So we had volunteers.
To fill in the gap wherever there was.
Absolutely. Imagine. We had, it was like a school. 9 to 11 was a school. Everybody after a bath, breakfast was in some classroom or the somebody under a tree shade, somewhere in a barrack. I had to walk from school to school, class to class to see whether, and they had examinations, they had weekly tests, they had a attendance sheet, everything. It was like a school nursery. And prisoners would leave the prison with their school bags, which were donated as used school books from schools outside the prison. So it was free, 10,000 prisoners, 500 teachers, thousands of books, everybody having a school bag, storybooks given by publishers which they didn't need. So I got all the community linked with the prison, saying take responsibility if you want them to be free. So this is how reform started. Vipassana meditation for 1,000 prisoners at a time.
How did you come out with the idea of meditation?
Because you need to address the mind. After all, crime is growing out of your negative thought. How do you clean up? How do you replace that negative thought with a positive thought till you meditate? Till you understand what's going on in your mind. And unless you shut your eyes and watch yourself and listen, you will not know what's going on in your mind. Because if you're constantly talking, you're listening only to your talk. Till you shut yourself, you will, and quietly sit, you will know what's going on in your mind. And then when you come to know, and then you meditate, and then you learn the art of meditation, you replace the negative thought with a positive thought. And once your positive thought comes, crime goes. Crime goes. So that's how.
You started doing all this. Nobody thought about it before you, and nobody is following it up after you. Now tell me something. How did first of all, what is the motivation? I mean, because the motivation again comes because you were emotionally involved with them as a person, as human beings, and you did not look them as prisoners, somebody just as one, two, because normally prisoners are not even known by the names. Their only identity is a number that they carry. So is it something that you removed that baggage on your mind, that they are no longer just numbers but they are people? Is that something?
Certainly, I looked at them as people who needed help. And if I look at them as people who were rapists and terrorists and people who had killed, then I would have hurt them more, and they would have left the prison to hurt more. That means prison would have only overflown with reactions. Here was prevention. You prevent the future crime by cleaning up their minds. But the good news, Mr. Prabhu, is that the programs is spread around the country. Tihar has continued with many programs. Vipassana meditation is continuing till now. National Open School is there. Indira Gandhi Open University is there. Large number of NGOs are. The programs which we did, we have continued. That's a good part of it. That means they've got institutionalized. They became part of the Delhi Prison Act too. They become a part of the Delhi. So you don't have a choice but to do this. And similarly, this program went to other prisons around the country, and that's how it's replicated. It went even abroad. These programs are courses in Italy and programs even in the US and other Western prisons. So it's spread, but Indian prisons have taken the leaf out of these. So it's a very, very good sign for us, because imagine the kind of programs, the criminality it's preventing. But I looked at them as people who needed help.
Yeah.
And rather than condemning them further, they've anyway been condemned. If I condemn them more, then I'm only making the society insecure.
Yeah. And then, did you find any change? Suppose if this was not done, and they would have been treated like they were treated before, did you see any change in some of the prisoners out of this 10,000 that you were working on at that time, in terms of ensuring that they change themselves, or something like this happened?
Absolutely. The point is, if you hadn't done that, then you would have surely sent them on a decline.
That's right.
At least you're giving them an opportunity to think differently. So there has to be a change. It's natural.
Any one example you remember that somebody must have come to you and said?
I've re-employed in my own NGO many people who were rehabilitated then. There was a woman who came out of that prison who ran my program in Navjyoti for many years, taught children for many years. They were rehabilitated. They'd done the programs. They were trustworthy now. They could be given a chance. They were rehabilitated. Many have got re-employed or self-employed. Many. And those who did the meditation programs properly never went back to crime.
Oh.
In fact, they sent others to meditation program. Research by the All India Institute, which was some of the teachers who were doing who were teaching programs, were IIT professors, Professor P.L. Dhar and others. They did research programs, and it showed amazing change. Research is not research by the IIT Delhi is showing the changes they made. There's been many research projects on this.
So there is ample documented
empirical
evidence to actually prove it. Tell me, you seem to be now more occupied, more busy. You are doing so many things, and you are actually smiling all the time. So, what is the?
I should smile even then.
I know, but what is the secret of this so much of broad smile on your face all the time? How are you busy with what do you do now?
Listen, there's great joy when you're a master of your own time, and you enjoy a sense of freedom of choices. And 3, whatever you do is what you want to do, and it is creative and productive and result oriented and joyful. My NGOs,
What are the NGOs? What NGOs you are doing job?
I have 2 NGOs. I have Navjyoti India Foundation, which is 1986 born, which is reaching out to 10,000 beneficiaries a day in slum school education programs, in village rural training programs, in self-help groups for women, panchayat training programs for women, drug abuse treatment program, which we talked about. Another foundation called India Vision Foundation is only working on education of prisoners' children.
Oh.
Their children are in boarding schools.
Children of the prisoners. Because nobody is taking care of them.
Yes. We run a daycare inside Tihar while they are small. From the age of 4, we take them into boarding schools, and they're in many missionary schools. Lots of missionary schools are linked with our program. So this is one of the most unique program anywhere in the world, because the child can be kept with the mother only till the age of 4. where the child goes after 4. So we take them into and put them into regular mainstream boarding schools.
And this is a lot of volunteers coming and wanting to help you to actually carry on these activities of these.
We have a regular paid staff.
I know, but still people would like to come and offer their help.
Yes, but that's temporary. The continuity and regular work is being done by proper counselors and teachers.
So it's a very professionally run organization.
Absolutely professional.
But how did you come across this Navjot name?
It just struck me. It was New Jyot, means
So
new
new
light.
flame.
It was new light.
Yeah, but Kiran is ray. So now the ray has become light. So I think it's institutionalized in many forms.
Well, so Navjyoti is, that's how it was. It's not registered. We just called it Navjyoti because it was a new light. So was India Vision Foundation.
Yeah.
India Vision Foundation is born out to my Magsaysay Award, by the way.
Yeah.
And when I got the $50,000 award, do I name it as Kiran Bedi Foundation? No. We named it as India Vision Foundation.
And the entire amount that you got as a money,
that is
put
how
it there.
we began.
That was the corpus.
Yes, that's how we began.
But you must have received so many awards over a period of time. How do you feel to be awardee of so many prestigious institutions awarding you and recognizing your service?
My foundations get richer by that. All my book royalties, all my speaker fees, all my award monies go to my foundations.
Oh.
This is all going. My dream is to create a sustainable corpus for both Navjyoti and India Vision Foundation so that they're not dependent on me. After all, I have a lifespan, how long? But the programs have to live beyond. So now my whole goal is create sustainable, secure corpuses for both so that the programs become self-sustaining.
So now it's foundation which is actually keeping you busy. But tell me, if this foundation keeps you busy, but what is the foundation of your belief system? Because you talked about meditation. I'm sure you meditate yourself, because otherwise you would not be so calm, quiet and thinking about these issues so dispassionately, at the same time getting involved, but again remaining detached from that. You think, what is the secret of that? What is the foundation on which your entire personality is built?
I don't know. I live each day to do something right. I live each day to remain productive. I live each day to be useful. I live each day to be creative and to be of value. I live day by day. I don't let any moment of mine. I live to add value to the day. And value not for myself. Well, value to myself means value to all the causes I'm linked with. So that's how I live. Because after how much, you don't live for yourself. A time comes when you start living for those causes you serve. So therefore, each day, and when you start, research is establishing when you live for others, when you give to others, you are the most joyful.
Do you meditate?
Yes.
How long?
Well, it can vary from an hour to 45 minutes to an hour, because I've also done the Vipassana meditation course. So it varies.
You did it for 10 days in which
Yes,
yeah.
it was a 10-day course. So
I also
that
did it.
has actually, that really transformed my life. Vipassana meditation really was a watershed. I can totally divide my life before I did the course and after I did the course. It was a life-turning opportunity.
And actually normally we spend time only looking at others, blaming others, maybe for some reason trying to pamper them, but we rarely look at our own self.
Yes.
And that's what you do in meditation, and particularly in Vipassana.
Yes. But remember, you don't only look at yourself when you sit and meditate. Then a habit comes when you're constantly under watch by your own self. So you live a life under a self-watch.
Yeah.
I live a life under self-watch.
Yeah. So just tell me, who influenced your life in your childhood, or who was the person who actually shaped your personality a great deal? Who is that one person in your life?
Both my mother and my father. Mother 100%, father 100%. I got 200% in my life from both.
Yeah.
And I have very caring sisters, and I have a very good husband. So I have had a very close family.
So how many sisters you have?
We are 4 sisters.
But then how come you got 200% from your parents when you had other 3 sisters waiting for them?
My parents were such brilliant that they give 100% to each one of us. That is the joy of
there
our
are no
family.
discrimination.
No way.
So that they really give.
And 4 sisters growing up during the 60s when people didn't want girls.
Yeah.
We were the rare family in Amritsar growing up.
I was just wondering why you and your sisters, all of you, were playing tennis all the time. Not all the time, but you were passionate about tennis.
Oh,
How
it
come
was
that?
all the time till I joined the Indian Police
Not
Service.
all the time. I'm saying not all the time when you're working, but I mean all your life.
Yes.
But tell me, how come that?
Because it was my father was a great tennis player of his time. He was a very keen tennis player. He played at the national levels. He played competitive tennis, so we used to all travel together, play a lot of tennis tournaments. We used to play together every day. My father actually taught me to play tennis.
Oh, really?
So tennis was in our blood, tennis was in our family, tennis was every evening. My mother used to be also at the tennis court. We all sisters used to compete and play. My father taught us, tennis was dinner, tennis was breakfast, and he used to take me for fitness every morning. Tennis was our life, and it is tennis which actually took me all the places all over the world, but before the IPS.
But despite being a good tennis player, you never said that the ball is in the other court. You always felt that it is in your court, and you started dealing with that ball from your court.
You're so right. Yes.
So this is how that also taught you probably.
Exactly.
But tell me, is it importance of sports in one's life that actually helps the person to deal with a life in a very effective way? You talk about meditation, which is too much of an internal issue.
Yes.
But sports is an outward activity.
Yes. Yes.
Does it really help? Like it trains your mind when you do meditation, but does it help when you play sports?
Absolutely. A sports person cannot sit idle. Sports person normally would prefer activity, would be more transparent, would be more forthcoming, would be comparatively more energetic, more dynamic. Because what teaches you what comes through sports doesn't necessarily come through books. Books teach you a lot of internal knowledge, but it's the sports which actually shapes you on a mental, physical fitness level. It also teaches you stress management. It also teaches you fair play.
Yeah.
You see, it also teaches you to
spirit,
be open.
Sportsman spirit.
Yes,
also
it teaches you the sportsman spirit which comes into your life as an attitude.
So you mean all these issues, you talked about training mind and also your body, which you by playing, etc. You think these are also issues should figure into the police reforms, and when we talk about even a constable or maybe the most senior police officer in the country, you think all of them should be now actually looked at as candidates for being trained in these different faculties?
But that's the way it is in the army. If you're unfit, you're out. Why should we continue with unfit officers towards police leadership? If they are not physically fit, if they are bulky and they're not fit, off you go. That's not the image you're looking for. So I think that kind of weeding out physical appearances, physical fitness, mental tenacity, and even knowledge about the laws. Yeah. Why should you as officers not constantly be upgraded in your knowledge, in your information technology, in criminal law, etc.? We get outdated. You got to be updated. So I think these skills,
these things also should be integrated.
It was offered in the Sorabji model bill. Yeah. I was a writer in that, one of the members in writing that model bill. It's just lying on the board. It's just there. There is no adoption of it.
Yeah. You are now busy with these NGOs and you are doing touring, lecturing, talking to people. But I just heard that you are also going to be anchoring a program for a TV.
It's an amazing program.
What is that program?
That program is called Aapki Kacheri, and they offered me to be a real life judge. And it's it's like social justice. Two parties willing to come towards facing the camera, non-criminal issue, non-sub judice. Not sub judice, not criminal. But a person is looking for an arbitrator who they trust.
Is it a real life story?
Real life.
So they really have a problem?
They really have a problem. There's nothing acting about it. So real life story, real people willing to come on real television, and real judge who's listening to them in a real way for the first time before a camera. And you resolve the issue if you can.
So I think your attributes of being fair, we also being ensuring that everybody in front of you is a human being, will also help you to actually arrive at a right judgment.
Yeah, listening to both tells you how to sift.
Yeah.
And my law knowledge, my experience of policing is being so very well used in being the real.
So it's a new beginning for you now. So we'll be seeing you more of Kiran Bedi, not as a police officer in uniform, but maybe in different attire as an anchor. So you are appearing here as a guest, but I am sure
as a judge.
As a judge.
Yes.
So from police
making
officer,
me wear the role, making me dare, making me look like a judge too. Oh, it's just lovable. It's doing justice.
So now from police officer to a judge.
Well, police officer is actually a judge too, but that's judge in uniform. Yeah. This is a judge in black robes.
But I'm sure now the real judge will be the people who will judge you into the new role, and we look forward to that. And this was Kiran Bedi talking to us about her responsibility, her passions, her commitments as a police officer, and now she has changed tack and she's working as an NGO who are trying to pursue the same cause that she is working on. So we'll be joined by the next week by some other person to talk about her experiences, his experiences. We'll be waiting for you to come back next week in another edition of Top Shot. This is Suresh Prabhu bidding you goodbye.